Alright, so we're going to be starting a new series tonight, a little 2-week series that kind of fits with the season, because you guys know next week is a holiday. Is Halloween anyone else's favorite holiday?
No.
Woo! You don't like Halloween? It is one of my favorite holidays. I mean, I love Halloween. What? Why? It's boring. You get to dress up. It's so much fun. You get free candy. It's so much fun. I mean, Christmas, 4th of July. Okay, all the holidays are great. But anyways, so we're doing a series called Haunted, about things that haunt us. But this time of year, people tend to do like two certain things because of scary Halloween and everything. And one of it is to watch scary movies.
Yeah.
How many of you, raise your hand if you like scary movies?
I love scary. They're so amazing.
Depends. They're scary
Alright.
or slaughterfest.
Okay, raise your hand if you really don't like scary movies.
Do you love it?
Is there anyone that just like doesn't care about it at all? like, I'll watch it, but I really don't care. It just depends on the plot, maybe.
I'll watch it.
Alright. Well,
There's some movies I like.
okay. Well, for me, I would say I am more on the side of I don't like it because as some people will go see like scary movies in the theater or they'll watch them in their living room or their bedroom or something. I'm the person that Halloween will sit on my couch and watch like Hocus Pocus or Disney Channel did like scary movies. That is my version of being okay scary. Like I'm all about Hocus Pocus. But I will deal with scary movies. I know one has in here has seen me watch a scary movie. I don't do too hot in scary movies. I freak out and then I either have to watch like a Princess Disney movie afterwards or I have to like go spend some time in prayer and read the Bible because I'm so freaked out about the dang scary movie. So I don't watch scary movies if I don't have to or if someone is like peer pressuring me kind of to watch it. So that's for me scary movies. The other thing that people do is go visit haunted houses. How many of you guys like going into haunted houses? I don't get it.
Wait, what?
Do you like going to haunted houses? No. Alright, so, okay, you guys put your hands up. So, those of you that really like haunted houses, sometimes will need to just explain to me why you want to put yourself in that situation. Because, again, I'm the Hocus Pocus Disney Channel kind of scary movie person. And I have been in a haunted house, and I will never do it again. Because why would you want to put yourself in a situation where you were like the character of the scary movie?
Simulations.
Like, fear. Yeah, but fear's not fun. It's not fun. Again, you'll have to use some serious convincing to get me to like it. But the reason why I ask these questions is because in both of those things, in scary movies and in haunted houses, is the idea of being like haunted. I mean, it's in the house, it's in scary movies, it's being haunted. And so if you could describe what haunted means in your words, like one person could just yell it out, what does it mean to be haunted?
Possessed.
Possessed? Alright, how many out? Alright, I heard a bunch of like scary, possessed, that kind of stuff. Okay, well, if you like Google it, it comes up with saying being visited by a ghost.
Exactly.
So that is one definition, but it has a second one that comes up, and this is the other definition. So one is yes, being visited by a ghost, so you're being haunted by a ghost. And we're not going to talk about ghosts really that much tonight. We're going to talk about Jesus, so it's going to be a happy thing, so that's okay. But the other definition that comes up is being disturbed, being distressed, and being worried. Now, these two definitions of the disturbed, distressed, and worried, or being visited by a ghost, do go hand in hand, because if you're getting visited by a ghost, I would think you're pretty worried. You're pretty distressed and disturbed. But the first definition is not really our reality of possession or visiting ghosts or anything like that we watch in all the scary movies. But this one of being worried and being distressed or disturbed, this is one that I think we can really relate to. And I think there's a lot of things that can haunt us, and that aren't just, again, ghosts, but things that haunt us would be things like, for me, that take over your thoughts, or take over your actions, things that cause you to be so worried that it takes over your life, like in the scary movies, the ghost like controls everything that the person is doing because they're so terrified, and they're haunted, they're worried, distressed, and all that. It takes over lives, and certain things, like I know for me, that I get very distressed or worried about is like, one for me is like fears like spiders. Like, I don't do spiders. So like, that's one of mine. So like, we can get haunted by that. Like, I dream about spiders sometimes and I can't sleep for the rest of the night. So like, I get haunted by that. Or we get haunted by stress or things that are going on at school or work, or just something that can take over our lives. And one big thing that can haunt us, that's in every day for some people, not just in this month of October where we really put a lot of focus on being haunted and haunting other people, is being haunted by doubt. So that's kind of what we're talking about tonight, being haunted by doubt. And what does that mean? What does that look like? And how do we battle that? So doubt is a word that, we do throw around a lot, where we doubt ourselves, we doubt other people, but like, why do we even have it in our life? Like, where does this come from? And it comes from, in a list that will come up on the screen. There we go. So why do we doubt? Some reasons are because maybe we've been let down in the past, and so we're afraid to repeat it. So we doubt a situation, we doubt other people. We want to have control over a situation, but we can't, so we doubt it. We aren't trusting of other people, so we're doubting them. We aren't trusting of God, so we put a lot of doubt in our faith, or we're afraid of what the outcome would be, so again, we doubt it, or we just don't believe in ourselves. So this is why we doubt. This is where doubt comes from, but what does it actually look like in your life? Like, what characteristics do we have? And these are different ones that I was coming up with of, if you have doubt in your life, then this is something that you have probably experienced. One is where you question everything. Because again, you're not trusting it, you're doubting it all the time, so you question everything. You're needing proof to believe in something. Maybe making decisions is very difficult for you because you're doubting yourself. You don't have confidence. You're needing approval because you are doubting again if, like, do people like me, or am I good? And so you need approval. You're worried and anxious, or you try to avoid certain situations because you know, like, if I go hang out with these people, or if I go talk and do this one thing, then I know I'm going to doubt myself and I'm going to go down this whole train. So you just avoid certain situations, or you just talk bad about yourself. So have you guys ever, can you relate to one thing on this list?
Yes.
At least one. Maybe, it doesn't have to be like two, you don't have to say a number, but you guys kind of see, like, you can relate to this in your lives? Yeah. Well, this room can't, or this side can't. You guys talk about it. Or you guys are all answering. So this is what doubt looks like. And so having this kind of doubt in our lives controls us. Like, if you're looking at that, like, questioning everything, can't make decisions, avoiding situations, like, this is controlling of our lives. Just like in a scary movie where whatever the bad thing is, if it's like a demon or if it's a ghost or a witch or whatever it is in the scary movie that I will probably never see, that is like controlling the main character. It's like influencing every decision that they're making, and it is controlling their life, and that's exactly what doubt does to us. It controls our actions, it controls our decisions, it controls our emotions, just ruins our day or our week or however long it is, and so doubt can haunt us. So we're going to be reading tonight. If you have your little handout, you can read along, or if you want to follow along on the screen. We're going to be in John 20, and we're going to be talking about a guy that got nicknamed because of his doubt, which, if you guys know, it's kind of now up there, but do you guys know? Who is it? Doubting Thomas? Yeah. Which stinks, that's your nickname now. Like, being Doubting Thomas, you're known for this one really bad moment, that's just, it's not great, bad rep. But anyways, so we're in John 20, and this is a kind of a well-known story of a man that is a disciple, and he has a doubting moment in Jesus. And so where we are in the story is Jesus has already been crucified. He has already been resurrected. He has made himself known to Mary Magdalene. He has made himself known to the disciples, but Thomas happened to not be there whenever he made himself known to the disciples. And so then Jesus left. And so that's where we are, picking up. So Jesus has already defeated death. Some people have seen him, and in walks Thomas, right? So this is where we are. In chapter 20, verse 4, it says, one of the 12 disciples, Thomas, nicknamed the twin, was not with the others when Jesus came. They told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he replied, "I won't believe it unless I see the nail wounds in his hands, put my fingers into them," pretty gross, "and I place my hand into the wound in his side." Also kind of gross. But, no, go back. We're not going there yet. Okay, so taking a pause. Right away, you see the moment of doubt that Thomas has, right? So he immediately is, after the disciples tell him, hey, the Lord is back. Like, he is no longer dead. He is here. We have seen him. We have talked to him. And his response is like, I don't know about that. I will believe it if I can put my finger through his wounds. It's just disgusting. But I will put, if I can see the nail wounds, if I can see the wound on his side, then I'll believe it. So immediately you see this doubt that he has. And so you see that he is wanting proof of basically that Jesus is back. Because he does not believe that Jesus can be raised from the dead, which I mean, kind of understanding. Like, I kind of see his point because it's impossible for us to come back from the dead. But this is also God we're talking about. And Jesus kind of does some really impossible things. So he has seen God do impossible things, but yet he is still doubting in this moment. So we see it almost immediately why he is nicknamed Doubting Thomas. It's because he needed physical proof to believe that Jesus was back. And so as you read on, it says that 8 days later, the disciples were together again. And so pause for a second on that. 8 days later, I want you to imagine like 8 days. That would be like, what, is that like next Thursday or Friday from today? Yeah,
A week.
Thursday. So it's a little over a week. 8 days, Thomas has been having these questions. Now, I don't know how Thomas feels. Like, we don't read to see like what his emotions were, what he was constantly thinking. But he is being surrounded by a bunch of disciples that he has been living his life with for the past 3 years. And they're probably constantly talking about, you know, Jesus is back, the Lord is here, the Lord is risen, you know, like, we won, this is all great things, and they're probably super excited and very joyous, and I'm just picturing Thomas chilling in the corner being like, I don't know about that, like, are you sure? And I'm thinking, like, for 8 days, he is surrounded by people. They're constantly talking about the fact that Jesus is back, and he is doubting for 8 days. Like, can you imagine that? Like, think of something that you needed proof of. You're like, I need proof for me to believe that. And you didn't get anything for 8 days. What level would your doubt be at?
Very high.
It'd be pretty high up there, right? Like, 8 days it took. And Thomas is doubting in these moments still. Or since his first moment of doubt. So continuing on. But 8 days later, like, clearly he's being haunted by this doubt that he has. The disciples were together again, and this time Thomas was with them, so that's good. The doors were locked, but suddenly, as before, Jesus was standing among them. Peace be with you, he said. Then he said to Thomas, put your finger here and look at my hands. Put your hand into the wound in my side. Don't be faithless any longer, believe. My Lord and my God, Thomas exclaimed. Then Jesus told him, you believe because you have seen. Blessed are those who believe without seeing me. So Jesus does the little like slap in the face to Thomas at the end, if you didn't notice that, where he's like, you believe because you see me, but those people that believe without seeing me, now they're the ones that are blessed. Like, I feel like Jesus is really good about doing that sometimes. So just like slapping us and you're like, ugh, knife to the heart. I'm sorry about that, Jesus. So anyways, in this story, Thomas, we see why he got this nickname of Doubting Thomas. And he does have a bad rep because of it. But anytime I read this, and a lot of times it's even whenever I'm reading stories like Israelites, I really just want to like reach into the pages and like shake Thomas, like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Because Thomas is someone that he saw Jesus walk on water. He saw Jesus raise other people from the dead. He saw Jesus feed thousands of people with a couple of loaves and a few fish. He saw Jesus heal people that should not have been like healed, like completely impossible to be healed. Like, he has seen Jesus do the impossible, and yet in this moment he's like, I don't know, I think this is the one thing that Jesus can't do. Like, that's kind of where he's going, and you just want to shake him and be like, what are you doing? But the hard part of it is that really instead of like shaking him, I feel like it's like shaking myself kind of thing, because I think Thomas is so relatable here. I mean, think about how many times you have seen God in your life, you've seen God move in other people's lives, you've seen God do something that you probably thought was impossible, but yet he did it, and then other moments come up and you're like, I don't know if God can do that one though. Like, he can do this because he already did that, but I don't know if he can do that one. And this is like, Thomas is one that I like very much dislike, but is very much me at the same time. Like you can relate to him, but you're just like, oh, you're not doing too hot in this right now, Thomas, but it's me, and so it's hard. But the hope that we can find in this is Jesus' response to Thomas. Okay, so if you can relate to Thomas in this moment of like doubting, even though you have seen God do incredible things, Jesus' response to Thomas is big, because this is what he says. He says, put your finger here and look at my hands. Put your hand into the wound in my side. Don't be faithless any longer. Believe. Thomas said those words 8 days earlier, when Jesus was not physically in the room. 8 days earlier is whenever he said, if I can see the nails in his, or the nail wounds in his hands, I can put my finger in it, and I can see the wound in his side, and I can put my hand in it, I'll believe then. Jesus was not physically in the room, and yet the first thing he says to Thomas is the exact words that Thomas said. And the hope that we can get from that is the fact that Jesus is present in the doubting moments. Like Jesus is present in the moments whenever we are doubting, and that is what he is showing Thomas from the moment that it began with Thomas, the moment that the doubt started. Jesus was there, and he was proving that to him, saying like, I was never gone. I've been here the entire time. And so when we have moments, doubts on ourselves, it's the exact same thing. Whatever it is that we are doubting, God is always going to be in the moment with you. Even if we're not feeling him, we're not seeing him, we're not hearing him, he is in the moment. The doubting moments, the good moments, the hard moments, Jesus is there. And that is the hope that we can get from the answer that he has. And so now for any of you guys that have ever heard my testimony, and I've shared it kind of like gradually even throughout the 5 years, one big thing that I've had to deal with is anxiety and like doubt and stuff. It's like anxiety was my big mountain that I have to climb, or that I have to like try to get my faith to move. Like that is my thing in my faith that I deal with, is just anxiety. And a lot of that stems from doubt. It's doubt in myself, it's doubt in just sometimes like other people and like how they can be. It's doubting in God, it's doubting situations, and having all that doubt creates all this anxiety, and it just like sometimes can haunt me. And some of you guys might be able to relate to that, but it takes over like my thoughts, my emotions, my actions. Like this is that big mountain in my life that I have to deal with. So it's perfect that like we're talking about this, and I just happen to get the doubt one, and God's really even just like teaching me stuff throughout this. But looking back in my life, back in middle school, in high school, in college, becoming an adult and getting like an adult job and working in ministry, and even now as Ryan and I are transitioning into this like completely new stage of life of being parents, sometimes doubt will still try to creep in. Like it's a thing that will still come up occasionally. So for me, sometimes doubt will still creep in, but in every single time the doubt creeps in, God is always there. God is always, always present. And if I let the doubt and the lies that doubt tells me scream louder than God, then you can even notice it just like in my actions and the way that I am. It just like ruins my day, and you're like, well, this is a waste of a day now because I dealt with that all day. But if I listen to God's whispers, and if I find God in the small moments, that is whenever I see the truth more than I believe in the lies that doubt is bringing in. Because that's all that doubt does. It is bringing lies into your life and into your head. And if it's haunting us, then that's whenever it's taking over our lives. The lies are taking over our lives. And so we have to look into God. Remember that Jesus is present in the doubting moments. And it's funny, I wrote this sermon like a week ago, and I was reading a blog or like this devotion post that morning, and it was talking about doubting ourselves, our own abilities, and it said that when we doubt ourselves, we are doubting God. God made us very specifically, and when we doubt our own gifts that he has given us, then we are doubting God's power. So it's basically us just saying like, hey God, that thing you put in me, that's not good enough. Like that's what this is saying. Like when we're doubting ourselves, we're doubting other people, we're doubting God, we're just saying like, hey, I don't really trust that you can handle this. Even though you made me, even though you made all this like creation in our universe, I don't know if you can do this. That's what it's saying. And so it brings in this like blog post I was reading, it brought it all around to where it comes down to this one question that we're going to reflect on ourselves tonight of, are you willing to believe God? And what it's saying is not, are you willing to believe in God? Because you can believe in God. Like, I believe in God the Father, I believe in Jesus, I believe in the Holy Spirit. Like, I believe in God. But do you believe God? Do you believe his words? Do you believe what he says in Scripture? Do you believe in the words that he says whenever he's speaking directly to you through worship songs or through someone speaking or just saying it while you're praying? Like, do you believe what God says about you? Are you willing to believe God? Not just believe in God, but believe God. Because that's what it all comes down to. Like, battling this doubt in our lives and battling the different things that we deal with comes down to, do you believe God? So if you can pull up, it should be the next slide, but the list that we talked about of what doubt looks like for us. If we believe God, this is the result we can have to counteract it. So if you doubt by questioning everything, if you believe God, you can learn to trust. If you doubt and constantly need proof, well, if you believe God, then you have faith in the unknown. If you don't have confidence because you're doubting yourself, well then, if you believe in God, then you believe in who God made you to be. If you are always needing approval from other people and you're doubting yourself in that, well then if you believe God, then you believe that being God's child is enough. If you are worried and anxious, then by believing God, you have faith and trust. If you avoid certain situations because you're running away from things that are scaring you or you're doubting yourself, well by believing God, you can have confidence and no longer run. And if you're constantly talking down about yourself, by believing God, you just see the beauty that God gave you. This is the, like, what doubt lies are. Like, the lies that doubt gives us is the red. Believing in God and what God says is the right side, and that is the truth. This is like the drastic, I guess for you to do it this way, sorry, but this is the drastic difference between the two. But this is what believing God does. And so I'm going to ask Adam and if the worship band wants to come back up. And as we go into worship, think about that question. Are you willing to believe God? And as we go into small group, we're going to talk about it, but that is how we defeat the doubts, how we defeat the lies and the things that haunt us is by saying, like, I believe God. Not just believe in God, I believe God. So think about this question. As we are going to worship, you guys can sit, you can stand, you can do whatever you want on this, you can take notes, but actually process it. I kind of use this as a time of prayer. Like, let's not try to distract each other just by talking through stuff. If you need to talk to someone about it, awesome. But actually process through this. Like, are you willing to believe God? Not just believe in Him, but believe in the truth and face the doubts that constantly can haunt us. So if you guys will bow your heads in prayer with me. Father God, we are so thankful that we can come into your presence and that, God, you just show us the truth. God, you point us back to the way of faith. You show us what it means to believe. And that, God, in moments when we have strong doubts, we have these things that are haunting us, that ultimately you are there in the moments with us as well. And so, God, just help us to find you in those moments. Help us to find you in our doubts. And help us to find what our real answer is of, am I willing? Because if we're not, then God, show us what is truly in our heart that can help us